at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. My name is Maria Miko Faith, and I will be your host today. I am a writer and currently a breast cancer patient most of the time, and it's my privilege to be here with you and to introduce Joaquin. Did I say your name correctly?
It's Joaquin, yes.
Joaquin, excuse me.
Sonoqui.
Sonoqui.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to know you. I read a little bit about your bio, and I actually downloaded and read some of your book. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your business and the book?
Sure. I can tell you a little bit about both. Actually, one has the reason my wife and we own a cleaning company, but the reason we did that is so I could have more time to write. I think a lot of people have different reasons for starting their own business. Well, our reason was we wanted more time to do what we wanted to do in life. So we had to work really hard to build something so we had more autonomy to be able to do the things that we have passions for. My wife is she's a meditation instructor, and she's now getting her yoga certification. And I love writing and teaching and doing the things I do. So it just gives us the freedom. So one kind of blends into the other. We do spend a lot of time still with our business. We're still not quite there where we can kind of detach, but it's been a blessing, that's for sure.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Because I was going to ask you that, and you already answered that question. So yeah, that's
it's
great.
My intuition. I'm intuitive.
I could see that's going to happen a lot.
Right.
And then, it's great that your wife is a meditation teacher.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And how does that work into your business, may I ask?
Not necessarily. Well, actually, it's probably amazing in our business because what it does is it gives us more of a positive mindset, more of a focus on what we really want to get through the challenges and the impediments that stand in the way of success. In whatever it is, people's definition of success is different. Ours is simply just to have the time freedom to be able to travel and explore the world and the universe, and to be able to do the things that we have passions for. So that, like I said, we're completely blessed. But being meditators, her and I both, and we're avid meditators. We love to meditate. We do it daily, sometimes numerous times during the day. I think it helps our business a lot because it does keep us out of those reactionary things that sometimes we get caught up in business, an employee showing up late or a job not going the way we want, whatever it may be. So it's a crucial thing for both of us to be able to keep our mind in a peaceful state.
That's really great. I know meditation helps me to stay in a peaceful state as well. And I think it's something that business owners can consider more and more, especially in this, changing environment where, you have to be really fully present to continue to stay in step with what you need to do, right?
A great point. I've never even thought about it that way, but wow, when you embrace meditation and you understand the power of it, let's say, I don't know that there's an avenue where it doesn't fit, right? I did a podcast last night about education reform, and we talked a lot about teaching our children to meditate and how important that is. There's been numerous studies done about meditation in public schools and charter schools and private schools about the benefits of meditation, and in every single study, the brain waves increased and the behavior got better every single time. So this is something that, the Western world, I believe the Western world needs to start embracing. We can't be thinking of meditation as something, mystic or hokey anymore. I think we need to embrace it.
No, it's a real, it's a powerful practice. And I'm so happy to see that translation, in a practical example. I think that's going to be really incredibly helpful for people. So can I ask, why a cleaning business? How did you choose that?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it kind of happened organically. I've always, I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm anal, but I like things clean and organized. I've always liked that. As an adult, as a kid, I was just as messy as any other kid. But when I had autonomy to be able to keep things clean and organized, I like doing that. So I don't know, about 4 years ago or so, I was kind of just in between things, didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So I thought, maybe I'll just start a cleaning company, Molly Maid type thing, where I go out and do a few accounts during the week. My wife was working in the corporate world at the time, so it seemed like a good fit. It would give me time to write and work with people the way I do. So I started that. And then, you know, my wife and I sat down one day and she said, you know, I don't feel connected to the corporate world anymore. And she was in upper management. She was making good money, but she just didn't, you know, feel like that was something she wanted to do. So I said, well, let's do this together. We can build a business together. Why not? You know? So we took a leap of faith and did about 2 years of really, really hard time, because neither one of us had any background cleaning necessarily, specifically commercial cleaning, which is a completely different situation. So we went through a really challenging time, and not only in our business, in our relationship, because we started spending all our time together. And so, but wow, what a miracle. What an amazing experience to be able to have faith in something, your partner, in the vision we've created, and be able to get to the other side. So now we're seeing the fruits of our labor. So
that's awesome. You know, just that willingness and to be courageous and to go into an industry that you didn't have prior experience in, like that took tremendous faith to take that leap.
It sure did.
I get, like, you know, chills just thinking about it. And but the other thing it's also got to take is a tremendous amount of love.
Oh, man.
You know, and it, you know, because this is the love of business, do you want to, you know, explain how love gets practical, you know, in the trying times? Because I think, you know, we're still coming out of a commercial idea of a Valentine's love, and it's kind of like, you know, it's not accepted as the real powerful force for creativity and for restoration that it is. So, you know, but I think on a daily scale, it's like, okay, even if you accept that, then how do you implement it? You know, what does it look like?
Right. And I'd probably be somebody to speak really practically about that, because I've been through it with her. And the first thing I need to say is that if you really want love in your relationship, God has to be first. And when I say God, I'm not talking about the religious God, the God we were talking in churches. I'm talking about love, and I'm talking about deep love, unconditional love. The source of life, things like that. And it's an individual thing. It has nothing to do with our relationship. It's her and I have both made the promise to each other that we would stay on a spiritual path. And because we've done that individually, our relationship has got through the troubling times. So, and her and I both work with people, and a lot of times people have come to us with relationship problems, and we don't work with people on relationships. We work individual, because if you're okay and the other person's okay, then your relationship's okay. If you're not okay and your triggers are still being pushed, and you still have coping mechanisms, and you still have traumas from the past, things are not going to be okay in your relationship. You're going to find a way to self-sabotage that every single time. We both tried to do it to each other, so I know this experience really well. So we made this promise to allow the Holy Spirit to lead our relationship, and that's what we've done. And what it's brought us, and I'm going to be completely honest here, has brought us something that I could in my wildest dreams never imagine with a woman in my entire life. And I think hopefully she would say the same thing about me. And I'm not talking about the me, the ego me. I'm talking about this transcendent love that we have for each other that goes way deeper than anything I had ever defined before or understood before. So it's an amazing experience to have with somebody else.
That's beautiful. And, you know, and a real testimony to the reality that when you implement love and a spiritual devotion, which is another form of love.
It absolutely is.
You know, into your daily life, into your relationship, then everything meshes together and everything starts to flow, right?
Well, yes, I mean, 100%. You can continue on. I think what we need to make clear here is that's the universe answering us and saying absolutely yes. I mean, the universe will always answer in affirmative, which is absolutely, if you're doing the things you need to do consistently and persistently, and you're allowing a force that's greater than your ego to lead your life, which is love and all these divine things that we've been given intrinsically by our creator, you will have the things that you want. There's no question about it. It's been proven time and time again, at least in my own experience and others that I work with and have seen. But that has to be, we have to be open to the universe saying yes. I spent about 40 years of my life completely closed off to things by fear, just by fear. I had a lot of fear in me. I was raised with a lot of fear. I had a lot of challenges with that fear. I numbed myself to it. I hid from it. I ran from it. And now I'm to this point where I'm open to what the universe is willing to give me. And I don't feel unworthy of that. I feel that I do deserve the things the good things that the universe gives me. I used to not think that. And it's an interesting transition there.
It seems like as you practice deeper love for yourself, and for, it just starts radiating out into everything that you do.
It's an amazing experience. And it's something that my wife and I both teach as we work with people. And so it's an important part. And again, I think the misconception is the misdefinition of love, right? When you alluded to that earlier, there's a deeper love. I'm not talking about the love that we thought sex and passion and all the things that we were shown when we were kids. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a divine self-love, understanding who you truly are, not who you were told you were, or who you were taught you were, or who you believe you are, who you really are. And there's an essence inside all of us that goes well beyond anything we could understand or know or be taught. It's a truth, and that's where we live from. And like I said, when you radiate that, when you have that experience of light, and you understand that you're living in that the universe answers every time. Things come to you almost like magnet. It's almost like a magnetism. So.
Yeah, it's I call it electromagnetic poetry.
Oh,
it's like
beautiful.
It's
That's
just
beautiful.
like a dance that when you get in that flow, and I have a background in martial arts, so and I really respect the fighters who include meditation in their training, because just shows how powerful that state of mind and heart, and that it's just that state of pure presence and acceptance with what is, so that you have the resources to, it's going to sound nerdy, but to facilitate the economy of movement that is joy.
As a writer, I kind of like it. I might steal it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, by all means, that's beautiful. The meditation is clearly a practice of love.
It is.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, there's no question. In fact, I've mentioned this many times on my podcast, and I've written about it. I don't believe that without meditation that I would be in a relationship with my wife. I believe that it was that important for us to both do. Now, I'll go back a little further. I've been a very expressive, outgoing, kind of a gregarious guy my whole life. I have a personality, kind of just a large personality. I'm not fearful of social situations. My wife was probably the opposite. But that didn't mean that both of our minds weren't constantly thinking and ruminating and worrying and being concerned with fear-based ideals. So when we met each other, we had both done a little bit of work. We both felt better in our lives. We both had previous marriages that we felt we healed from, and we felt better. So I think we were accepting of that. But what happened was there was still some lingering insecurities and things that we triggered on each other. So as we learned to meditate and develop this self-love, and I believe that's almost goes hand in hand. When you learn to meditate, you get so deep inside of yourself that you resonate with a space that's completely different than anything I had experienced before. And it almost stopped those ruminations and worries in my mind about the things that I would be concerned with. What is she thinking? Or does she still love me? Or am I, the insecurities and all these, it's just the weirdest thing. And especially in a relationship, because it takes energy and you want to be in alignment with that energy with somebody else. But your mind can't do that. Your mind doesn't have the capacity to do that. You can't think through a relationship. You have to be present for your partner. And through meditation, I believe we both developed a channel of being with each other in a true sense, where it's been amazing. Wow. It doesn't mean it's perfect. And it certainly doesn't mean there's not challenges. But the beautiful thing about the challenges now is, instead of being reactive to those challenges, we have a pause and then we respond to them with a solution. And there's the trick, if there is one, is to find a solution in every problem.
Right. And that's part of seeing the sacredness in every situation. And,
beautiful. Absolutely.
And so with the love of business, and I know people who are watching this are practically minded on the business side, and you have a cleaning business, and you also have a book that you wrote, and I read some of that. So can we hear a little bit about your writing business?
Yes, absolutely. And I thought about that when we're going to go on the show. I don't think of my writing as a business. I understand that I make money doing it. I'm not separating the two, but I don't, it's just a creative passion. It's something that I enjoy doing. And once I've done it, just like an artist that paints a picture, he likes to share it with people. And that's all I do. And if money comes from it and blah, 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 that's great. But I don't think of it as a business. But it's an extremely connected, almost intrinsic part of me. I think, I have thoughts. And so I want to put them down on paper. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've really enjoyed that process, that creative process of taking thoughts in my head and putting them on paper. And just, there's almost like you said, almost like a dance that goes on where you're just, you're structuring sentences and you're developing either a fictional character like Carew, or in my latest book, which is more of a self-help book, drawing on past experiences and then putting them on paper. It's just been it's just part of me now, almost. It's a strange thing. And I never, again, 5, 6 years ago, I never even knew I could write. I never wrote in my life. I never ever did that. Yeah. Until I had kind of a spiritual awakening and kind of healed some of the parts of me that needed to be healed, apparently. I never even considered really writing, maybe a fringe on the fringes, but I never really thought of it as a career or something that I would do. But man, just the last probably 5 or 6 years, I've really thought, you know what, I think I could take my past experiences and influence positively people through my story, through what I've experienced in my life. And I think that's what any writer in the self-help genre certainly would want to do, is try to inspire people positively and help them heal. So that's where we're at with that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And using the fiction, I read a good portion of the story, and it reminded me of a book, not, it's completely different, but the spirit of it, it's called Fight Back with Joy.
Okay.
By Margaret Feinberg. And it's a breast cancer patient's book, but it had that same, I felt at the essence, that ferocious love, if you will,
wow.
Where, it's just like you're so determined and defiant in your love and in your passion for that peace, for that presence and the peace that comes with it, that you can just be with almost anything, because you're open to the goodness that is lurking sometimes,
Well, and I'll take that a step further. I believe, and I'll try to kind of give you a practical concept. I believe God is love, and I believe that we're all loved by nature. Everything else to me is an illusion. Everything else to me is something we've made up, we've thought up, we were told, we were taught, and we get programmed to believe certain things. Now, that's not to say they don't exist. I'm not saying that. In fact, that they're actual. I mean, fear is actual. Pain, war, rape, all the things that we get, fearful of are actual. I understand that. But there's also a reality that goes well deeper than that. And to me, reality is eternal and infinite. And that goes well past our life here. And it started well before our life started here, and it will continue. It's a thread. It's an eternal thread. So what I believe is love exists in that reality, not in actuality, in reality. We've had love defined to us in actuality, and we bought whatever notion that love is for people. But love in the eternal realm, love in the infinite realm is completely different. And the more I awaken to my own spirit, my own divinity, the more I understand that love is all there is. Love is it. And so if I give that my power, my honor, my value, and I make that a fortified part of myself every day, my steps, my thoughts, my interactions, my narrative, the things I tell myself, then I'm going to recognize that as all there is. And that's what I'm going to stand behind and push for and be a champion for, because I think that's what we need in this world. We need more love. Yeah. There's no question about it.
And love is amazing how the more you focus on it, it just keeps growing. Like, I practice Qigong is one of my energy practices.
Beautiful.
And,
beautiful.
And I learned to keep bringing my attention back into that, that golden ball in my lower abdomen, and just like the more I do that, right, it's like everything starts to get into a new flow, and it's just, it feels true, like I got to a point in my life where I know I needed to feel the truth, because I knew that my mind was so compromised. And I realized that tears and laughter are expressions of love that I could work my way back from.
Sure.
And I'm kind of tangenting a little bit, I realize, but I feel like it's it's the, you know, it's that journey of love in the business that's going to change the experience for people and awaken like new perceptions and new creativity.
Wow.
You know,
it's the power force in our life. I mean, if people can understand that and you know, if you're asking, let's say in the business sense, that's fine. In the business world, if you want more power in your business, if you want more gumption, if you want more positive action and fortitude, right? Getting through challenges, whatever, love is where you turn. There's no question. Every single time, and it starts on the inside and it works its way out. It emanates. It's like ripples on a pond. You throw a pebble in a pond and it just ripples outwardly, and everything gets affected. Your clients, your customers, the people, your vendors, whoever it is that you're dealing with, will be affected by this love. It's just the way it works. It's absolutely the way it works. Can I explain it in words, even as a writer? Probably not. It's magical. It's ethereal. It's divine.
You can explain it in so many different ways, and you're still just touching the surface.
So it's just one of those things that kind of goes beyond words, beyond explanation, which is fine for me because I've had an experience and I know it's true. So that's okay. I don't need to explain it. I just try to present it and give my essence to the world in every way I can.
I think that every time we interact with someone from loving kindness, we have the experience and the translation that is, you know, that is just personal between us. And that way love keeps redefining, you know.
Wow.
But as we wrap up, I want to first make sure everyone knows where they can find you, wherever you'd like to be found on. Beautiful. You know, online.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of things. I didn't write this down, so let me kind of go through this slowly. I do have a book. I do have a book on Amazon Kindle called Carew, A Man in Love, CARU, which is the Welsh word for love. It's just, if you've read a little bit about that, I don't know if you have or haven't. Maybe, I know he may have given you a new book, which isn't released yet, but I'll be hopefully back to be able to promote that.
Awesome.
I also do a podcast bi-weekly called The Great Reset with my wonderful partner, Javon McGlory, on Facebook Live. We do that Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we talk a lot about what you and I just talked about how to best bring love to the universe, the unity, and just all kinds of wonderful things. So
and that's facebook.com/
Facebook, thegreatreset2020.com. Yeah, and anybody can find that, or they can pull me up here, and I always promote that there so they can link to it in any way they can. So there's a couple ways to do that. And like I said, I do have a book coming out here real shortly. We're in the process of getting that done, called Love Now, Live Now, which is, and it's also the 3 principles of living a joyful life. And we talked about joy earlier. You talk about this Margaret lady that you gave. I'm going to look at that book, by the way. That sounds really good. Cool. So there's some things that we can do practically to have this experience. I know for some people it seems a little, you know, to me, I put myself back 10 years. It probably would have seemed a little weird to me too. But the reality is when we have this experience and we stepped into this place, it becomes the truth, and then we can live from there. So,
and love, I like to think of love as a very powerful intelligence. You know, it's a powerful business intelligence. It's a powerful relationship intelligence. And the more we advance our thinking and realize how important it is for business, there's going to be a huge shift, because the perception is just phenomenal. The change in perception when you really embrace love as the force that it is.
Like I told you earlier, I don't think that there's any chasm or channel that it doesn't affect, from children to education to business, all across the board, because we are in the middle of this paradigm shift in the world. There's no question about it. People are going to have to make a decision. Do you want to continue subconsciously to give into the fear that we were handed, or do we want to step into this divine space of love? And you have to make a choice, each individual. But because there's a bigger force behind this, because there's an ultimate force of love that's pushing this and promoting this, it would do us all a great service, business-wise and everything else, to step into this force of love and do good by that, because I think it's going to make a big difference in any way we bring it. So
wise words. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Miko.
It's been an awesome pleasure.
Namaste, girl. And let me just tell you, I did hear something about you having breast cancer, so my wife and I will pray for you. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me, okay? Please.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right. God Namaste, bless. Girl. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye.